Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The ESL Pro League, day number 2 this week. We're ready to go. It's getting hot and heavy. It's going to be NRG, and it's going to be OpTic. And Launders, you just said that you think it's going to be closer than some would expect. Would you like to divulge on such a point?
Yeah, I'm willing to give up my secrets. I think NRG are just a little bit better than the teams that we saw them play recently, and OpTic had a rough game versus Splice yesterday. I mean, I talked to Drone last night, and he was really broken up about the whole thing, just because they started so strong, both halves being 11-4, and then losing that lead in such dramatic fashion. And funnily enough, on Overpass, they lost the lead on, I think, CT side, and then on Inferno, it was actually T side. So it's like sad for Splice, but it's also kind of worrying for OpTic, who had to come back from such a deficit in the first place. So they've got stuff to figure out. I think overall it's clear that they have enough like individual talent to carry them through those troughs. Yeah. And we'll probably see a lot of that shine today. And I think I think there is something to be said about NRG, but still more to prove for them. Whereas you look at everybody on OpTic and see the titles that these guys have won, and you know that they can hold a default together off of no practice, probably no problem, right? So I expect that with that experience and the, you know, the stakes not being quite as high for each individual match in Pro League, and especially, you know, you're not going to run into NRG at some of the tournaments these guys would play in. They're just not going to have as much respect for them, and they're probably just going to be more ready on an individual level. One
of the things that I'm kind of looking forward to seeing is whether or not OpTic can actually hold down the start of a map in general. Because yesterday, again, we had 11-4 halves from Splice on both of the starting halves. But at the same time, that was a 7-1 start on both maps as well. So, like, unable to win either of the starting pistols on neither of those two maps, unable to convert their opening point on either of those two maps. And that really led to kind of the momentum that allowed for Splice to get such a score. So I think that maybe if OpTic are able to get themselves off to a better start, then they can actually leading before it ever happens, if it even happens. That's the question we've got here tonight as OpTic and NRG is now set to begin. It's NRG to the CT side, and it's OpTic towards the B site.
Into what looks like a straight-up B hit right now, as everybody's set up, nobody watching the flank even. I hope they actually leave someone back here. No Molotov as well, just going to be right into the site.
Serious gush. Already Daps dropped to a quarter of his health, and OpTic dropping into the bomb site, but their bodies drop as well. That's 3 quick kills, all the way of NRG. Both Freiburg and Magisk still standing, but on site and pinned in. Of course, that flashbang could allow for a man to cross back, but now it's only one man left, or a boy rather. Magisk himself to the side of the train. They know exactly where he is. They're just going to completely encapsulate him. He has no chance. That's Ange with the last one, and NRG with a pistol.
It's hard to say whether or not you just win you get a win because you got a plant. Sometimes that's your only goal, and you play the game of risking getting shot by USPs who are playing at the back of the trains on inner when you try to hit B on a pistol round. That's just what you're deciding to do. Now you could opt to buy more utility and try to put more smokes out, but you could still very easily lose the round. I think most of what's going to need to happen for you to win is for you to get headshots with those Glocks, which is kind of difficult, but it's much easier when you maybe get that initial kill and are able to push up together towards the back lanes and stop people coming out of Z, for example. They weren't able to employ anything like that, and that's because, obviously, Breeze was really crispy with his aim.
Now there's $0 invested into this one for OpTic. They've dropped the bomb already. Daps on the MP9, easily making quick work of what was OpTic's push.
Excellent. Tons of money made, and he played a position that was really up close with a teammate in Z to help him cover people who are coming into the site. And I actually like this more than playing far back on NT-Ecos. I think that you run the risk of going down 5v4 early, allowing the bomb plant to go down, and everything getting really weird. But let's say you put that SMG really far up close to the ramp. Well, if he dies, you only give up the MP9. If you have the opportunity to stop the plant, that's super valuable. The other strategy is to stay back with Molotovs and grenades like we saw OpTic doing, but ooh.
Welcome, sir, to the North American Pro League. Great shot onto Magisk up close. Immediately takes OpTic down to the 4 versus 5. Of course, they are coming in with that preemptive buy, and not all that much utility. They still have those 3 smoke grenades and a double flash to execute off of. They're already primed to hit this B site. That's 3 players in. The 4th, who was towards ladders, also joining them, but it's Freiburg with an entry and the bomb plant to follow suit. NRG, not having a fast rotator nearby, allows for OpTic to get themselves into a solid after plant. Now, of course, NRG still with grenades of their own, can Molotov the bomb site, force the players from behind that very thin cover. But they're going to want to get into position first, and that's exactly where they are. Fugly on high throws his in, but neither of those Molotovs are going to find a target. Breeze able to trade onto Freiburg from the oil trains, and Cirque's watching upper. But that's where HS catches him, and Alu now in a fantastic spot. Both backs are turned, he tries to stick it, and OpTic shut them down.
They even had an out with Alu there at the train, ready to peek out if HS went down at upper. He managed to do all the work by himself, which is fantastic. He even shot at the guy defusing the bomb first and still got away with the other kill. So pretty fantastic stuff on an individual level from HS. And that was a very interesting round because the opening pick went the way of NRG. They still continued to go to the inner site, even though that opening pick did happen. And then you wonder, well, why didn't NRG have a fast rotate? It's because they felt like, all right, the OpTic are not going to come to this site for at least a few more seconds.
Fast round already. Magus getting into ladder room, and the entirety of OpTic getting towards this A site. Breeze is in a spot to stop this. He's been spotted, he's been killed. As already, OpTic find that 5v3.
Flash goes in upper as NRG try to reposition.
Able to find a kill is HS, so continuing on as OpTic. This is going to be a clean sweep unless Fugly's got something to say about it. Alu is up close, and now he's gone down. With Fugly having a chance at maybe a couple other frags, especially Magus, sitting on a single point of health. Tough spot to be in, throws away the primary, Mixwell takes him down, and OpTic now tie things up at 2 apiece.
It's definitely a gamble. I think OpTic knew that NRG are either going to try to force up or they're going to save, but either way, decided to go for something fast. Don't mind it at all. I think dropping down ladder can sometimes be a risk. We see that with that battle happening at the bottom of the ladder, why that can be a possibility. But they had someone there to trade, and it was no problem. Ultimately, it's nice if you go quickly and you have the correct spawn, and the CTs don't have the equivalent spawn, that you can just beat them there, and then you have an extra lane to split from when typically you'd only have T-Con or Ivy later on.
They're going to be trying it again. A rapid execution into the A site. 2 quick kills, make that 4. Poor Daps is all that's left. Great conversion point. OpTic Gaming again minimizing those losses.
It's really cool to see them picking up the pace and playing every round out quite quickly. It's obviously just more entertaining, and the fact that they feel comfortable doing that. I mean, some people would say, well, if OpTic want to play a more structured style, doesn't mean they want to slow it down. Well, in reality, a structured style doesn't necessarily mean that you're playing every round out slowly. In fact, you need to have tempo change-ups, and also you want to play to the weaknesses of the other team. So if they feel like NRG aren't going to be ready to deal with them moving quickly, then they should be abusing that over and over again.
Zoot a third time, but no, it's NRG to pick up the pace. Up close is the CZ of Breeze, and all of a sudden these pistols have worked out. Daps has himself the op, but it is now dropped as Freiburg finds a frag and takes it down to the 2v2. Minute 30 left over, but more importantly, the bomb in the possession of NRG. Unfortunately for Cirque, he's not close enough to figure this out, and everybody's split up right now.
This is a big win for NRG, obviously, to be able to have the bomb. ANJ's got a tough position because he knows that, or he's feeling like he's going to take first contact, and he has to decide where's the best position for me to deal with somebody and where are they going to approach me from. Now, we obviously see HS actually taking the back route, and, oh, right here, Freiburg catches Cirque off with some good timing. HS coming through the back, and it's obviously, I think, on Freiburg to try to take his time, but ANJ gets caught off guard as well, as he doesn't expect HS to follow up and hit that flank so quickly. So OpTic clean up in a situation where I think that actually can go either way. I think there's some play involved in the sense that you're trying to get in the other team's head, but you don't always know exactly what they're going to do. Instead, you're playing the odds, hoping you're going to come around a corner when they're not peeking you, or just taking the best avenue that's like likely a big flank or would have the less attention to it. Now we have another full buy. We're going to have NRG with the double op setup and an op pick coming out. I actually don't know if Alu was able to see that leg, but doesn't fire off of it, so maybe he couldn't. Ivy control is starting to be taken.
There's the op pick, though, and Jay finds Alu. Of course, Alu was in a great spot from T-Con, having that lane down towards Ivy. Could have maybe found 2 of these players that were boxed up, but in this case, it is going to be the 5v4 for NRG.
And we did see Alu play T-Con with his op quite often. He likes these angles a lot. Here we have him losing a duel, which is obviously going to happen. It's quite difficult as a T-sided opper to find picks on train. CT side, the team should not allow you to get those openings, at least not early and at least not easily. Now we have the flashes going out on top of Outer with the Ivy split coming out.
Cirque's able to get the kill right away to the top of the train. HS finds the trade frag, but it's Freiburg with the next one as OpTic take back a man advantage. Now it's lost and swung yet again as NRG have held it off thanks to the frag of Daps. But it's Magisk Boy, the young Dane, going to the top side of this train. A man up close is Ange, and now he's been removed. That's a crucial kill with 30 seconds on the clock. Magisk with another duel, and he sprays. He tries to take it, but both players now lit down to a quarter health. And all of a sudden, things slow down. That nade, he knows exactly where he is. Molotov will block him off, could secure the left side plant, but he has to hurry up because the fire won't last forever. So he's going to get this in, forcing Daps now to come up big. He's got himself the kit. Can he find himself the frag? Magisk wants to take an angle, wary of the fact that he could be out, but the timing works for Daps. He doesn't see him, but he flicks. And that's great stuff from Daps, able to clutch a round that absolutely matters most. However, one player up for NRG. It's going to leave him in a really rough spot.
Oh, man, the rough thing was both players had tons of time to take that initial duel, and you think the round should have been over there. Daps gets a second lease on life and finds a good timing to come around the train. Magisk kind of underestimated how long it would take him to leave Z and got caught off guard for it. So good 1v1 for NRG. They're now just within one of tying it up, and there's the 1v2 attempt. And Jay kind of almost put that round in danger, pushing up the E-box with the op with no one there. But it was kind of anticipating what their play might be, and because he has that op, if Magisk was anywhere on the ground, he probably would have gotten that kill for sure. So understandable why he tried to do it. Now we have the double ops on Mixwell and Alu as opposed to on NRG. Cirque's obviously going to hold on to his. A lot of utility being used, and it seems like it's an attempt to try to bait stuff out in response. It's actually going to help and assist HS to get out here past the Olaf. And he's getting really aggressive with this lurk.
Actually going to get to the top side of the train as players move over towards Zed. Easy kill onto HS. But Mixwell is up next. He can smoke off this ramp. Could allow for the entry, but because Daps has eyes on this, there's no immediate threat for NRG to rotate over. Alu posted up above. That's now both ops on a very aggressive angle, but Alu is presented a frag as HS finds another at A. CT's unaware as to where this is coming in. But Breeze has an idea as now he's all that's left. Knows his backside's open, A site's been taken, which means all of these T's can rotate out. Most importantly, bomb included. Yeah, absolutely. Just want to hightail this, and it was just kill after kill. After the initial frag came up from HS, who really motivates the other team to try to look for some push on the on another extremity of the map where they can get a kill. They just fell into the hands of Alu, no problem. So it was standard CS, standard textbook CS from OpTic. Once you have that advantage, just hold on for a little bit, and we see this happen so early in the round that it gives them so much time to just be patient. And obviously getting a second kill, doing more than he needs to do, really, with that frag. Oh, another one outside. Wow, just taking outside for himself. A round where you take both sites. Yep.
Can't get more successful than that. And now it's NRG back on a save. After pulling together a rifle round, have nothing but USPs and a couple of upgraded pistols.
Yeah, again, a moment where they win a round, but only with that one gun. So everything was on the line in the last. HS, again, opens up shop towards the A site. Really makes it his home. Cirque, well, he tags up Alu, and with the fadeaway, is able to get at least one kill. But that's all NRG have their hands on. And as Cirque exits, he runs right into Mixwell. An easy cleanup from OpTic yet again.
Yeah, no problem. Just hit outside really quickly. We haven't seen NRG have any response to fast anti-ecos, even though I think they're probably expecting them by this point. I'd like to see in the future if we see OpTic try to change it up because of that, maybe do something a little bit slower, full executes, or something where they just wait for pushes, because they've kind of put NRG in a position where they know, okay, they're going to go fast. That means they're not going to pay attention to every single choke point. That means it's probably going to be friendly to push something. And here, the response is counter nage, which makes a lot of sense. Magisk takes a little bit of damage, but not too much. It's actually ladder presence, as they've been used to using, that they're abusing again. Yeah, they just come barreling forward yet once more. 3 frags make that 4. Almost a team ace. Only Freiburg needs 1, but it's going to be Mixwell to double in with 2. A quick headshot to Daps cleans up the B site. OpTic, Breeze
into 7 points to the board.
I actually want to see if Magic was anti-econ looking for someone pushing up the ladder, because I think the only problem with going ladder on an anti-eco is you can drop down into pistols. Pistols are so close that they can just go headshot, headshot, headshot. And if you have someone in T-Con running it right out of a good spawn, they can catch anybody that can have a good spawn running to ladder, and that might be a good complement if that's the choke point you want to abuse on your anti-eco. Now we have another full buy, another attempt to try to string rounds together. Dap's going to be playing inner once again. This time letting go of smoke early, even before a flash is popped. Might have heard it, may have just done it off intuition, but now has also gotten support. HS, however, working outside by himself, once again is able to find the opening frag, and Cirque pops him out of the sky. With a clean headshot.
Nice the exit, but OpTic want the entry, just charging into the B site. Yet again, hitting these sites quite quickly once they decide to push in, but Ange stops them with a 2K of his own. Cirque locking down the upper hall, but both players on site, one of which now on the retreat. It's Magisk with another kill, and he tries to find the next, but Fugly gets the best of him and leaves it on to Mixwell. With a Molotov to the top side, he could block off that bomb. There is still the kit on ANJ. Timing will be everything.
Yeah, he wants to wait for this first tap because the bomb has not been, or has stayed up for too long. He's actually going to the lower ramp where they did molly it off and they both spotted him upper, but now they have to take their time because of this defuse. And Mixwell has actually rotated down to lower ramp, so he's pretty much got this round. That's it.
What a great clutch. Mixwell. Yeah. I mean, the Molotov not only ensures they can't get on the bomb, but then at the same time, you see how their attention gets pulled up there, assuming he'll go for a shoulder peek or something along those lines. Nice reposition, finds him with the timing, and finds OpTic again with another round.
Yeah, that is a really tough part. This plant allows the one person who's in brown halls to be able to go from upper to lower and peek from two different angles that are really hard to cover if someone's going to try to defuse, especially with the time going so low. So the Molotov was integral, obviously, and the fact that he didn't respect their Molotov also played a part. Now we go into a new rifle round. Here it's actually a really rough force-up. I think they smell blood because there's only one player alive, but our chances of winning the round are obviously quite slim because of the lack of guns. I think Cirque might have been able to see an arm. Knows there's obviously presence at the very least, but can't capitalize on it until Alu dies once again, I think in the exact same spot in T-Con.
Cirque's at least been able to win that duel versus the opening Opper. It's Magisk boy to swing it into the 4v4, so Cirque wants to reposition. They feel this pinch inbound. Magisk through the gap gets caught by Cirque. Another op frag to the way of NRG. And that's a man advantage in their pocket. But Freiburg, bomb included, starts to creep round train, catches Cirque up close, goes to the top side with another headshot. OpTic open up an opportunity till Mixwell denies Fugly that lurk. So poor old Daps is all that's left, and he's already been blocked off. Of course, HS, very close, very heavily hit. 2 points of health for him to work with. A single round will take him down, but it seems like OpTic have secured this.
Man, I gotta say, I'm so excited to watch them play now versus like much better teams at like big international events if they do qualify for them. And obviously, watching them versus NRG, just it's a biased. It makes you have like a biased view of how good the team is, but they just seem like everything seems like it's gelling really nicely, and I love how they're changing it up, and I like the pace that they're moving at. I hope they keep this up. NRG on the back foot, a couple of players with armor, upgraded pistols, and again, just not enough money to full buy, but too much to justify a full save.
And again, OpTic just reeling back into the A-bomb site, tagging up the targets towards the site, using the utility to force them into the open, and really just taking the most amount of advantage off of these spies. I mean, poor NRG, their hands have been tied for the most part. So many pistol rounds, so few chances.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There we see them take it a little bit slower. They're almost positive after having killed that force and the reset, know that it's going to be a full save for NRG. This round they actually took a little bit slower, waited a moment for pushes. It was NRG to assume that Ivy was the play. I think we've seen, I'm not sure why they had that read, because OpTic have been abusing ladder over and over again on their anti-ecos, and here they did it again just a little bit more slowly. But I think basically, maybe one of the best things they could do, if they knew it was going to be a ladder play, is to go throw a smoke at T-Con, cross two people to the ladder, just wait for someone to drop. You can hear any nades coming down. They drop pretty quickly. It's not even like, they don't treat it with respect like they do in a rifle round. Like, they just pretty much fall immediately. So there's potential there for frags, and they haven't been going for them.
We're going to see them now reposition over towards B, so leaving Ivy open from OpTic. So T-Con push this time round, and a man aggressively in the ladder, but OpTic primed to hit the B site yet again. Daps with no support goes down, and Freiburg has created a lot of space here. ANJ, rotation cut off, but Freiburg gives them a chance. Kills himself, damn gravity, as Alu with the op finds Breeze and continues forward. Nicely done. OpTic off of this op play. Not always finding the opening kill and taking the 5v4, but then in these mid situations, seem to find kills with it regardless.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, ANJ, for example, has won that opening duel versus Alu on 2 rifle rounds, and there's not that many in 1/2, so that is a big deal for sure, and they're still able to win these rounds, just as you said. Now, I think it's awesome that OpTic have so much variation in terms of where they're hitting things and from what choke point specifically. It's been a couple of rounds at Ivy, it's been a couple of rounds, and they've been keeping some of their rounds where they go outer to like a ladder focus, but not using ladder focus on their full executes. And it makes it really hard for them to read. They aren't giving NRG a lot of time to make information plays either. They're kind of setting up and hitting, and I think they spent enough rounds not focusing on Daps that he was kind of caught sleeping in this position as a sole man on the site, not really in a position to use counter nades whatsoever. Behind the train is a fine angle to try to fight upper, I suppose, and there's Freiburg dying in his own fire, but he could have taken a duel and won it and maybe gone from there to use a nade, but didn't have an opportunity to go and molly the lower ramp, for example.
Molotov forces HS and Alu to split. Now that gives a good chance for NRG to at least hold them back. And they go for that ID push yet again. This time Ange actually stops the man on ladder, but Breeze is able to reposition as well. So the 5v4 in the hands of NRG yet again. We've seen them flub this. Can OpTic swing it back? They are already all on site. They're kind of pinched. Not able to cross at this point. They start to throw out more grenades. Breeze still alive as Fugly finds a frag, but it is the 3v3. OpTic doing a good job yet again of finding their footing and swinging the round back to their favor. Poor Daps, all that's left as Freiburg has the 4K. So it's not just OpTic, it's him in and of himself. But Daps has found an opening frag in this 1v3.
What can you say? Through all the madness, just 4K entry on the outside site. No problem. All different angles, picking everybody apart. Just basically excavated this train yard. And now it's just this 1v2 with Daps. Quite winnable. Well, maybe not quite winnable. Half HP, but has a Molotov at the very least. There's probably a kid out there somewhere. But this outside site can be so difficult to even win a 1v1 sometimes because of the way that you can play around the trains. And now he's just got to at least find one target. There's an opportunity. Ali hits a shot. 12-3 now. And what a dominant half from OpTic.
Incredible stuff. I mean, again, we've seen NRG win those opening op duels. We saw them have the opportunity to close out rounds, but that's not the case. Maybe they'll have a better chance in the second half. So stay tuned, as we'll be right back.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the City of Odense, GeForce GTX, Lenovo Legion, Bedway, Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain Dew League, Xfinity, and ESEA.
A 12-3 half will not leave NRG with many options or opportunities to win out some rounds. But they've still got the opportunity to do so, and they had opportunities in that half.
Yeah, they did have opportunities in that half. And that is the beauty of Counter-Strike, that it's not over till it's over. But we just have, there's so many things to say about how well OpTic played, just the variation in strategy they used, their ability to go fast and slow. I liked how kind of consistent and decisive their anti-ecos were, and then obviously just putting pressure on Inner at all the right times. The only saving grace that seemed like for NRG was A&J winning those opening op duels. Those are big picks, you know, take the op out of the round, get the 5v4 cleanly, and even with those, it seemed like they had no chance with the amount of, with how on point everybody on OpTic has been. And the jet lag must have settled out at this point because they are looking super sharp. Pistol round here, OpTic, or Freiburg, excuse me, has a single smoke to match the single smoke of Fugly, but a full-on default. All the free map control being taken from the terrorists as they clear out the brown halls and make sure that nobody is pushing Inner. OpTic have decided to play this one quite passively, a focus on kind of the Ivy area with these long angles on T-Con and ladder, which are super friendly. And you kind of see all three players have the ability to take a long-range fight, which is ideal. And on Inner, the same thing. They're all the way back there. So it's going to be a heavy reliance on hitting those first bullets and obviously a single retake smoke that they will hang on to, certainly.
OpTic seem very content with just letting NRG throw whatever it is their way. Not trying to get aggressive towards T-Con or prying over on Ivy. Just going to play responsively to what they throw in this direction. Magis able to open it up, so OpTic find that 5v3 because the T-sides start to dwindle. They try to push forward as opposed to the site, and that leaves A&J alone. Mixwell already breathing down his neck, denies the plant. OpTic win this pistol.
It's a double-edged sword to try to smoke Z on a pistol round, just because we saw Magis from up top of the train was able to not have to worry about the smoke, whatever. Just saw it pop, was like, all right, this isn't going to smoke blind me at all. I can go ahead and I have free range to shoot as many times as I want. NRG are going to try to cross, but at some point someone's going to have to fight me, or I might get a lucky headshot. And obviously he put one on the board. Then Mixwell helped him out as his teammate at upper, and the other option is just to smoke down the ramp. That helps you cross, but it doesn't help stop rotate. So that's why it's a kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't type of moment, where it's a gamble call for NRG. And unfortunately, they picked the wrong one. Good setup, though, from OpTic, and you can see why it makes more sense for someone who's a Z-rotator, who's kind of daddy Inner at that moment, to stand up top of the train as opposed to stand inside where the Z-smoke will pop to try to clear upper.
Of course, not just one smoke grenade in their arsenal this time around. NRG playing 3 of them. And they've already lost the man as they try to entry into the A site. But we see that blanket of smokes at least cover Fugly as he will attempt this plant. Freiburg already peppering him with some damage, but Cirque finds one before he goes down. It's still going to go in as far as the bomb's concerned. A&J left alone, 1v3 with the Deke and no opportunity to clutch.
Yeah, easy rounds. NRG try to throw some smokes outside for a simple bomb through ladder play, and they were successful in the sense that they got the plant. Unfortunately, it's so late in this game that they need more than that. They needed kills, they needed to convert the round. But off the back of that, I assume by next rounds, the best they could do right now is like something crazy like ump armor, maybe a scout. Instead, looks like, okay, they're gonna drop an AK or two, maybe just one. Okay, we see a couple of AKs changing hands.
Figuring things out on the fly is NRG in this one. Obviously, Cirque gets into position early on, just pushing forward into T-Con.
This is actually a lot better than, you know, everybody buying a UMP. We see full nades and full nades, armor, and AK for DAPS and A&J. And because your Ts, as long as you stay grouped, if you have 2 people go into a site, if you don't get those entries on a rifle round, you lose anyway. So from that perspective, if they are able to get that first kill or trade it out, sometimes if you hit Inner, for example, there's only going to be one person there. They can get the plant, pick up a gun, move from there.
Now, with these kinds of buys where you do drop those AKs over to the players with utility and armor, I always wonder, what are you supposed to do with your pistol players?
your pistol players are just going to be there either to go in first because your entry will die, or they go in to trade, or you use them both to maybe sell flake on the other side if you have some extra utility. In this situation, it looks like they're just going to stay grouped and put the AKs as frontmen. NRG has spotted one person. That guy's going to probably fall back. Mixwell actually has a molly to be aggressive.
Nice. They drop the bomb in the open. Mixwell able to lock it down. The entirety of OpTic arrive, and by that time, NRG are already dead. So OpTic secure overtime quite quickly in this second half.
Yeah, super quick match. It looks like NRG now are going to be forcing up with much less than they even had last round. They are going to move out. They're going to have at least have nade sets. Breeze, the only one with any money remaining. Curious what he might decide to buy. And yeah, it's just another CZ armor, full pistols. Let's see what the strategy is. If there's ever a moment to dig deep, it's this one.
This is a massive utility collection here for NRG. Not a single player with a rifle.
Yeah, and it's tough. You want to dig deep, or you want to move fast. You don't want to take chip damage and then have to move into a site. Dap's already at half HP, but at the same time, OpTic have so much money to work with. It's going to be counter nades after counter nades. Here, HS in a very aggressive position.
Nicely done. He dodges those flashbangs, but he does give up his back, so Fugly makes the most of it with a second frag as well. Alu removed, but Mixwell slows things down, and Freiburg chimes in with another, so Breeze needs to clutch. 1 versus 2, no bomb on back. But he's gotten himself to the site, fires off, and that'll cost him. Magisk wins the duel with the M4, and OpTic win this map in very convincing fashion.
Very convincing fashion, DeBears fashion, in and out.
In and out.
Very quick.
Swift and quick.
Yeah.
Convincing stuff. I mean, again, we've come to maybe expect this from OpTic, seeing as they have dispatched of their first 3 North American opponents. I know that right away, yesterday morning, we saw, I believe it was the OpTic kind of like CEO post pictures on Twitter of showing these guys preparing already, like getting right into the groove of grinding it out. Even last night after their games, I believe it was Hex, posted another tweet where they're just staying up late and still practicing, trying to get into a good groove. And clearly, that groove is good. It's convincing stuff, but we're going to throw it over to the analyst desk where they can tell you exactly what you just saw.
All right, thank you very much, Scrawny. We did indeed just see OpTic close out against NRG in relatively quick fashion, much cleaner than yesterday, right, gentlemen?
That looked pretty much a lot more cleaner. Blue.
Yeah, I think HS was definitely wearing his turtleneck right there. That match, like that was a drubbing. I mean, but there were some systematic things that were happening that led to the reason that they won so quickly, and also NRG was kind of helping them out.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, of course. I mean, what were the big key issues from NRG? OpTic once again started off actually behind here as they lost that initial pistol again. They had that same problem yesterday, but they came back much quicker.
So what? So NRG got 3 rounds on their CT side. Those rounds were pistol, anti-eco, which was a full eco, right? Because OpTic got the bomb down, right? So they want to get the AK's 3rd round, so it was a full eco. And then the 3rd round that they won on CT side was when they double pushed lower ramp with CZs and then pushed up the ladder. So like they couldn't win 1 gun round the whole half, right? And there's reasons why for that. So you would see late round Daps soloing inner with 1 minute left on the clock, which is kind of semi-mid to late round, and there's nothing happening elsewhere on the map. There's no nades flying over mid from the Ts, and they're still leaving him at inner alone. It's just like, it's kind of weird how they didn't have much team play on the CT side, so I don't really know what's going on there.
I think OpTic showed them no respect, because they were first 3 rounds, they hit inside, all right, so in NRG's mind, they're probably like, all right, let's just keep 2 inside for around the first gun round, and then OpTic decides to rush outside very aggressively. They're just going outside fast, inside fast, just really pounding them pretty hard.
Yeah,
and
just the way you like.
And OpTic just, I mean, it doesn't help that NRG is not throwing any nades, any Molotovs or anything to kind of slow down the rush, kind of disrupt it. I mean, OpTic is just having a field day.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm kind of sad to see it because it just seemed like uninspired play across the board, which is counterintuitive because their name is NRG. Like they would just, on CT side, they would be adamant about staying in Ivy, like every round. Like sure, Ivy control is good, but there's stuff happening across the map. Like you kind of have to be dynamic, right? Like they're coming out ladder. Like you just had a teammate die at ladder. You probably don't need to be double server box at Ivy anymore. So I want to see more team play coming out. I think NRG can do it. I still believe that they have a chance here on Mirage. I think that was just kind of like a isolated event there.
Well, we do have 1 round from that Ivy point of view to show you guys. Eric's going to break it down for us a little bit. It's round 12. Eric, why don't you
So what I love about this is OpTic, they get picked off by Cirque off the bat. And so at this point, you see 3 OpTic people towards Ivy and Magix at the ladder room. So Magix, he has to make a move. So now after he had this kill, the people on the outside are going to kind of look towards the ladder. This allows the people in the Ivy to come right out, and I love this route. Instead of going straight to bomb train, they're behind Olaf. They're pushing out, as James would say, they're clearing out the triangle.
Yeah, we went over this last week in CS 101.
It's CS 101, and so I don't think NRG really expected them to come out Ivy all the way back around towards E-Box. So everything was very planned and timed perfectly by OpTic, and I really like that. Maybe
Freiburg is actually trying to take over and get himself a nickname on another map. Maybe we might have to call him the king of like the train triangle or something, right? So I don't know. Like I love that path too, right? Like that's kind of like a next level path, right? Like if you're playing, because they're all the CTs are like sandwiched in on bomb train. There's 3 CTs playing bomb trains. Like good luck with that, right? You're either going to bump into each other and screw each other's angles up, or Freiburg's going to come all the way around from Ivy where you don't expect them to be. Yeah. So
NRG clearly having quite a few struggles here on the first map. What needs to change going into Mirage to allow them to potentially steal that map away now?
Wake up, maybe hit some shots. It looks like they weren't even thinking properly. Again, it's pretty much basic CS. If a team's rushing you over and over, throw some names, disrupt them, make it harder for the other team. It looked way too easy for OpTic, and I mean, if you just gotta have a little more balls in your play.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some shining moments from NRG there. There was a few individual plays, right? We saw Cirque getting some picks. There was a really cool play I saw Cirque make on, I think it was the first gun round that NRG did lose, unfortunately. What Cirque did is he pushed the lower ramp with an op. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but what he did that was especially cool is that he jumped and then threw a grenade a smoke grenade while looking straight up in the air, so it would take a long time to bounce, so that the smoke landed right behind him. So it gave himself a fallback path off of lower B ramp. So I feel like Mirage is a map that's like ripe for those kind of plays, right? So if they can get more people doing that other than Cirque, I think they can be in a good footing on Mirage.
Well, we're going to find out more about that in a little bit. OpTic is currently up 7-0. We're going to find out in just a few moments here if they can make it 8-0, as we'll be jumping over to Mirage for our second map. Stick with us, folks, and we'll be right back.